Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as she travels the Vortex. Now watch out for angry trees. It's episode 456. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Good. I'm trying to figure out the reference to that.
When the thing's sleeping, she calls it a really angry tree because it's breathing out oxygen.
Oh, okay.
She did, didn't she?
She did.
Okay.
I'm going to put that over here in this column.
Did you guys have a good week?
He can't get all of them, can he? Can't get every week, can he?
I do what I can.
I was thinking more about my impression of the episode, but yeah, that's true too. I had an okay week.
Did you guys do anything fun? Watch any movies?
I didn't watch anything.
I don't think, not since last time. Oh, we watched Marriage Story on Netflix, the Adam Driver ScarJo one.
Starting on your Oscar watching then, huh?
And they lied.
It's not a marriage story.
It is not a marriage story. It's a divorce story. But if they called it a divorce story, I don't think anybody would have tuned in. So. It's good.
Was it good?
Yeah. It's heavy, as the subject matter might imply. But it was good. Some fantastic acting.
We played that Campy Creatures that you got me for Christmas.
Oh yeah, how was that?
A lot of fun. We
Good.
really enjoyed it. Family really enjoyed that. It's a good little sit down, hammer out a game in about 20-30 minutes, and it's nice. A little card / board game. It's
Nice.
a lot of fun.
Good.
A lot of fun. Easy to play, but not so rudimentary that it's boring. It really has a lot of skill and tactic to it. So
Yeah, cool.
I'm hoping to get to the island on Sunday. We have another game night coming up. So it's like, ooh, there's my window of opportunity.
I'm 2/3 of the way through Ahsoka.
oh yeah,
It is really good. It's a page turner also. She did a really good job with it.
I finished Master and Apprentice,
Mm.
which I quite enjoyed. And then I just started, today, the Quinlan Voss one, Dark Disciple.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Is that official or is
Yeah.
that Legends again?
Yeah, that one's official.
This
Ah.
was the script. This was supposed to be part of season 6 of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Before it got cut short.
You can tell just by the first two chapters, that it reads very much like the Clone Wars era stuff. Obi-Wan and Anakin are both so far portrayed very much like they are in the series. So.
Do you have to be current with Rebels to read Ahsoka?
No, because it takes place before Rebels.
But after Clone Wars?
But after Clone Wars.
Yeah,
It actually
that's where
takes
I'm
place...
And it explains where she was before she shows up for
Yeah, it's pretty much takes
Rebels.
place a year post-Empire Day. So a year after Order 66.
Oh.
They started calling it Empire Day in the books.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it kind of bridges that gap. And I think, based off of rewatching the trailer for Season 7 of the Clone Wars, that's going to connect it even more, because there are little flashbacks to Order 66 in the book, too, which it looks like they're leading towards that in Season 7.
That was my next question. Did everybody see that trailer?
No, I haven't. I actually haven't seen it yet, so I need to take
It's
a
the
look
old
at
one.
it.
Is there a new one? Because somebody at work said, "Hey, did you see it?" And I went to go find it, and I found the one from like Celebration.
I think that might be the one I finally saw then. It was kind of almost more of a teaser, but
It was a full-length long trailer.
yeah, it was
Like
it was
two something.
it was a long trailer, but it was mostly text and Starfield and then
No,
the
this is a
occasional
different one.
flash of characters and
I haven't seen it.
I saw a different one then.
okay.
This one starts with like a black and white fade to color of her leaving the Jedi Order.
No, that's not the one I saw then.
That must have been the announcement trailer you saw.
That's how far behind. Did you hear they're doing season 7? Yeah, we knew that like a year ago.
All right, well, let's move on to feedback. No. Yes, because
Yes.
we have no news this week.
No news again. The show's back, so not a lot in the news department. There's some bits that we don't usually cover, so we're moving on.
Moving right along.
In feedback, we got Holly.
Holly writes, "Hey guys, an interesting episode. Was I the only one thinking the cards that Graham put together looked like the Time Lord message cubes? No. Yaz interrupting the romantic moment between Vilma and Benny had me shaking my head. Fakecation is one way of putting it. At least the spa wasn't called something with California in its name. Little hint of midnight in the vehicle leading them away from Tranquility Spa. Kane and Vorm were interesting characters. They really didn't or couldn't tell the doctor about the truth about where they were headed and the planet itself. The reveal about what planet Orphan 55 is, I didn't see coming. And, all in all, a decent episode. Looking forward to next week's episode. I'll wrap it up here. Holly from Wisconsin."
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
That's it for feedback.
All right. I guess we'll move into our... Great. We'll move into our reviews.
Having decided that everyone could do with a holiday, the doctor takes Graham, Yasmin, and Ryan to a luxury resort for a spot of rest and relaxation. However, they discover the place where they're having a break is hiding a number of deadly secrets. What are the ferocious monsters that are attacking Tranquility Spa?
So I have a problem with that synopsis right off the bat because the first line... Read it again, Keith.
Oh, hold on, let me pull it back up.
Oh, sorry. Something to the effect of deciding everybody needs a break.
Having decided everyone could do with a holiday, the doctor takes Graham.
So we're lying to us right off the bat because the doctor didn't have anything to do with that decision. Graham took everybody on holiday.
And it makes it seem like they actually get a holiday as opposed to 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's Doctor Who. I kind of knew that.
But this Doctor Who typically takes its time a little bit more than this episode does.
That's true.
This episode is such a breakneck speed that it feels out of place for this era of the show right now.
What? Oh! Now, do you know who the author of this episode was?
Yeah, same one of that
Okay.
stupid frog one.
Well, I have to say it's better than the frog, but not not a whole lot.
This is the worst episode since Jodie Whittaker has taken the reins. This episode stunk. It was terrible. It was terribly written. It was terribly paced. It's hard to follow the plot, what plot there is. There's too many throwaway lines that they didn't go anywhere with. There were too many subplots going on that they really had no time to deal with.
What do you think, Keith? We'll get to Glenn in a minute.
I wasn't that harsh on it, but yeah, I thought it was okay if a bit rushed and justifications and motivations felt a little forced. This is the first episode in Jodie's run that the characters, aside from our main cast, felt two-dimensional. There was no depth to any of them, despite the attempt to give them depth. And then there's the eco message that wasn't necessary. Like, you don't need the doctor giving the fam a speech at the very, very end of, well, this is what could happen if we don't change our ways, because just having it be Earth and the flashes is all you need.
Well,
as an explanation
the
and
companions don't see the flashes though, so so the message has to be delivered to them.
But she conveys to them throughout this of why this is Earth, because as the adventure's happening, she doesn't need a recap speech at the end. She conveys to them that it's because
I think you're nitpicking something that I agree with you on, but I don't. The failure of this episode is it's like they took. I applaud them for the message. I applaud them for the message.
With the message.
But it's like they took the message and then they said, "Okay, this is the message. Now let's write something around that," and that's what it really feels like.
See, I don't know. I almost think it feels like I've got this decent story of this spa that's.
What shoehorned in is at the end.
In.
See, I don't think they did. I don't think they shoehorned the message in at all. But what they did do is they changed the message slightly as well, because the imagery shows nuclear fallout, explosions, war,
Right,
famine, blah, blah, blah. But the core of the speech is global warming or climate change. And that's where I had a problem with it, was if it was they blew it up kind of thing, and everybody needs to get along, which they still was kind of in that message of climate change, but they really drilled home the whole climate change thing, and it was nuclear explosions and stuff that blew the thing up and irradiated the planet.
Yeah.
So I just that was the only thing I felt like was forced, was like they had a message and then they kind of tried to make it a little more all-encompassing message than more of a direct message, and that was the problem. That was a problem.
I think you're both right. I think the message felt tacked on, but only because it was handled so badly. I think there was a lot of subtext that probably was meant to be present, but wound up not being. The fact that this alien race is called the dregs. Well, okay, it's the dregs of humanity. It's the,
Right.
okay, these are the leftovers, the people who couldn't afford to leave when things got bad. And so once the 1%, I'm assuming, left in their spaceships and took off, everybody else was left to squabble over what was left, which led to the wars and the nuclear bombs. And it's like, okay, I can fill in those pieces, but it would have been nice to have kind of a concrete chain of events to follow.
There needed to be a little more hand-holding than there was,
Yeah.
instead of leaving it up to people to figure
And I
that
think
out.
the Doctor should have probably doled that out a little bit, as Keith was saying, throughout the episode more than what we got.
That I agree
Yes.
with.
Instead
yes.
of leaving it all at the end. Because then when it did come at the end, it was, oh, okay, here we go. It's the ecology speech. And, I 100% believe that climate change is happening and that we have all these issues. And, yeah, we need to straighten up. But I've also kind of said before that I get a little wishy-washy when Doctor Who does social issues. When Star Trek does it, it works for me. When Doctor Who doesn't, it feels sometimes a little forced. And this one definitely, because it was, okay, info dump at the end of the episode, was going, yeah, here it comes. Are you done talking yet? I get it. Okay, yeah. It really kind of...
Doctor Who does the issues better when they don't, have the Doctor telling us to the camera what the problem was in the story.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I've been more of an apologist for all of the messages, especially from last season. I
had no
felt
problem
that,
with any
I
of the
felt
ones
like
from
those
last
were
season.
all just fine. But a lot of people cried foul and said,
Yeah.
no, it feels too preachy. It's too in your face. And I sympathized but disagreed with a lot of people. But this was, coming from the guy that was very apologetic for it last season, this one felt ham-fisted and shoved in my face. And
I even liked it last season.
Yeah.
I didn't like that about it this time.
it just,
Well, they were handled better.
Yeah, that's just it.
The message
It
was
was.
more part of the story
Right.
than what this one is, because this message is, now we're dealing with the aftermath of the story. So it almost seems like it's too late. But then you come back at the end and go, oh, this was a warning from the Ghost of Future Present. And no, I don't.
but the the ham-fisted preachy message wasn't even the worst of this episode. There's a lot wrong with this story. A lot wrong from a writing perspective,
Yeah.
specifically.
I applaud the attempt to... a lot of these characters felt very classic Who. We've got green hair. Right? It's kind of like, this is like the mud monsters out of Crawl.
When we showed up, it felt more like a Paradise Towers kind of
Paradise
vibe.
Towers
Yeah.
was definitely...
it didn't go that way at all, but...
it just... In any of these characters and situations very much would have been at home almost in a 6th or 7th Doctor era story. And I applaud them for kind of, throwing that nostalgia factor in there and doing a callback. But consequently, you gave me somebody interesting that's like, okay, I'm kind of curious. No, and instead we get the son's a better mechanic than the dad, who doesn't want to admit it. Okay, and and that's the way. Nobody talks like this. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it
But
just
do you
all
think
came
that
across so poorly.
Do you think that was purposeful, or do you think that was accidental that we got those callback type characters?
I'm going to give the episode probably more credit than it deserves and say, yeah, it was on purpose, but I don't know.
Because it felt accidental to me.
It felt a little bit like the pregnant guy in the Conundrum or whatever that was
Conundrum.
last season. Where
You got the first one. You got the made up word right. You got the real world wrong.
Where he felt, like kind of in there as a joke, and okay, let's do a interesting kind of twist on Alien, and that's what these green-haired people felt like to me. Just kind of like a one-note background character.
It's very one-note background, and the problem is because they tried to throw the green hair father and son didn't even have to be in this episode whatsoever. The doctor could have done whatever jiggery pokery to make things work. So that's where this falls down, is because they're trying to devise this subplot of this boy whose father doesn't take him seriously, and the father's a dunderhead, and they're trying to develop this subplot within here that just gets completely overwhelmed by everything that else that's happening, that there's no meaning or emotion to it at all, even when the kid storms out of the room into the hall into danger. And then you're throwing your arms up going, you're just an idiot. I don't have no sympathy for this kid because he's just stupid now.
Because after all he's been through up to this point, yeah, he can storm off in a huff. Just don't leave the room.
Yeah.
And it would still have the same point put across.
And we've already got the parental issue with Bella and the lady that runs this place, and the you didn't pay any attention to me, so I'm going to blow up the play. I mean, that just
who goes to that extreme, really?
That just screamed like pain, but just spoiled brat. There was just no. I mean, not even spoiled brat, but boy, she just acted like a spoiled brat. She acted out, is what she did, and that was
way
just
off the charts.
Yeah, it just missed the mark.
This episode reminded me a lot of Voyage of the Damned, but it was like several shades paler. Voyage of the Damned, because Voyage of the Damned is okay. We're doing the Poseidon Adventure on Doctor Who, and so we're going to have this big group of interesting people that he has to lead out of trouble. And this one comes along and says, well, we're going to do aliens.
But we're going to mix it with Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
With Beneath the Planet of the Apes. We're going to do, here's the thing, and we're on this hostile environment, and we're terraforming, and then we're going to play 10 Little Indians with killing off all these characters that you're going to get to know. But the difference is, I remember the characters from Voyage of the Damned. I mean, the married couple and the Balafanaka, and these were kind of and the really jerky guy that we all hoped would die who didn't. These were kind of interesting characters, even if they weren't overly developed. At least they were developed to a point where we kind of sort of cared about them enough. These people I didn't. The only people that I was kind of sort of invested in was the elderly couple, and Yaz screwed that up right off the bat. So then it was okay, I guess we're not going to do that. I mean, it just. Let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks isn't always the best way to write a Doctor Who story.
Well, and what's her face? I can't even remember her name. That's how little of an impact. Bella.
Yeah.
The only reason I was somewhat interested in her as a character is because she had decent chemistry with Ryan. Mm-hmm. Things started to spark a little bit there until she goes all, reveals her true self. And then it just... any interest there it instantly evaporates.
And instead of building that up to the point where we were all really kind of hoping for something for Ryan, and then feeling devastated and betrayed along with him when that reveal happened, no, we've got to have all this other mumbo jumbo running. I mean, it was so much of the character stuff was at the expense of, we need another action set piece here to keep up this breakneck pace. Like, let's get in the ship and drive across the planet only to break down on a piece of barbed wire. Okay, well, let's leave the ship. Oh, wait, everybody back to the ship. Okay, now leave it. It's like, why go back to the car? There was no reason for that. You could have just gone to the escape tunnel and then had whatever needed to happen. I mean, there's just, why go back to the set? And they did the same thing with, okay, now we're back in the base and we're going to leave the room and then come back to the room. And it's like, what is with all the running about? I mean, that was another thing that kind of felt like an early Classic Who episode. It was almost capture and escape repeatedly over and over again. But you could cut all that stuff out and given me a story where, Ryan got to know this chick and that she was really interesting and we were kind of rooting for some sort of relationship. And then you reveal her to be a bad guy. But give me something better than just, I'm mad at my mom.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. I think one of my glaring problems with it was, why did we have to take everybody out to look for Benny?
Yeah.
Why are we taking a 70 or 80-year-old elderly woman out to look for one? First of all, we're out looking for one guy.
One old guy.
Yes, you can argue that's in the character, that everybody's important and that we're going to go find him. But sure, so you take you and Yaz and Ryan, and maybe leave Graham with the old lady and the kid. Why are you dragging the kid out there? I can understand maybe taking the mechanic because you think you might,
He
run
built
into
the car.
But
So,
again, I think the doctor could have handled any of that kind of stuff. Yes, of course, you take the two security people, Kane and whatever the other guy's name was. You take them, obviously, because they've got the weapons and somewhat training there. Your military, or your security. But when the doctor somebody pointed out last night, we recorded TARDIS Sauce last night, and somebody pointed out, well, the base wasn't safe. But yes, it was, because she'd put the shield back up.
Right.
She had put the shield up and to keep them out. So the base was relatively safe at that point. And so and you could have probably had two things going on, but had a lot less chaos of having smaller groups of people to focus on in this story. But you had way too many people going out there unnecessarily, and that was silly. It was stupid.
Imagine the shock value if our companions are left at the base while the doctor and the security people are out looking for Benny, and that's when the discovery is made of this access tunnel that leads down into beneath the Planet of the Apes, and they realize they're on Earth.
Yeah,
and they get that message without the doctor.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have.
Okay.
I will credit them for. I didn't see the This Is Earth coming.
Oh,
I didn't see
neither
that.
did I.
I didn't see that. I think the problem that I have with it is it was very tropey and it's been done before, and it feels old and retread. I mean, we've done it in Doctor Who. We did it with Mysterious Planet. And so
maybe that's part of why it feels so Sixth Doctor to you.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing so this thing is starting, and it's very atmospheric, and there's these creatures in the hall that are attacking, and they're shooting, and they keep showing these like flash shots of them. You don't quite see them, and
they're very effective looking at that.
It's very
point.
effective, and the monster that isn't there, and you're like, oh, this is. And I just kept thinking, well, this is really well done and shot creepily, and they're not showing us the monster. I love that element of it. Every once in a while you see part of the face, the teeth, and then later on they just full out show them, and then they look like guys in rubber suits. I mean, yeah, that's Doctor Who, but I mean,
they went full Doctor Who.
Yeah,
at that
and
point.
so I thought, it would have been so much better if you had just kept up that. Let's not show the creatures, at least show them in limited amount, so that they could have been scary still. But after they started showing them full blown, I just wasn't as scared of them anymore. I never was scared of them, but I mean, it just wasn't.
They weren't as.
It wasn't
scary.
as frightening. Yeah.
Bonus points. Did you happen to notice who was the guy in the suit?
I did not until I saw it on TARDIS Wiki.
I don't think I did.
Friend of the show, Spencer Wilding.
Oh, is that Spencer in there?
He played the Alpha.
Okay. Very
And
cool.
I thought he did a very, very good job.
He did a good job.
Oh, and he's right here.
Once again,
lead drag
being
and creature movement, Spencer Wilding.
Being the guy in the suit. But yeah, no, I agree. It was almost even too much. Like, even the teeth was like, I didn't need to see that. It was scarier if you don't show me anything. Just that there's a thing out there. Okay, I'm terrified now. Oh, it has teeth. Well, okay. It's going to bite me. But I just, like I said, I wanted to like it. When I saw what they're doing, it was like, okay, we're doing aliens. That's kind of cool. We haven't done that kind of thing in a while. Oh, we're doing, these callbacks almost. Okay, that's kind of cool. We're doing that. And about the time that they went out on the surface and they said something about the way these monsters hunt, or the doctor said, oh, they've adapted. And then I flashed back to they were called the dregs, and that's when I began to suspect. I think I know where you're going with this, that this is Earth. But then to turn around and give us the mysterious planet, hey, look, we're in a subway tunnel. Here's a sign. Really? We're going to steal that? Just blatant? That's not a callback, guys. That's theft.
That's a ripoff.
And then, to go all the way back through the access tunnel on this grand chase, which felt like they were trying to do Waters of Mars. That, tunnel bit. And again, wasn't done nearly as well. And just, I don't know. There was a lot of...
They try to make a big deal of they're going through a dreg nest, and there's one
guy
in the nest.
Yeah.
Really? It's such a big deal that you have to worry. That could have made some... Forget the getting in and out of the car 5 times. Just go through the nest and have that be a long, suspenseful, drug out section where it's high intensity and a high suspense. That would have worked well.
Yeah.
Another nitpicky thing about it is the very end where they're trying to make you feel bad for Bella and her mom being left behind because there were too many people on the teleport pad. They didn't all teleport at the same time anyways.
Yeah.
So, okay, get Silas and his dad on the teleporter. Go. Okay, now everyone else get on. Let's go. Easy solution where it didn't have to be such a, oh no, they're going to die.
There were several of those with, okay, I'm going to throw myself in the path of the monsters to save everybody else, that weren't really necessary. Oh, we've got the little lady, she's slowing them down. I'm going to sacrifice myself. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess you don't have Benny anymore. That one we can forgive. But then the mom does it. Just go on without me. All right.
And then Bella does it at the end.
Yeah, it just one after another after
and
another.
then Mom shows back up.
Yeah.
Miraculously. And that's the other thing
unharmed.
Is, we're supposed to have
Although she only had to
them.
fight the Alpha. Somebody pointed that out last night too. It wasn't like she was dealing with a mess of them. It was the one Alpha that she was having to take care of. So.
But still. That's the head one. That's probably the most dangerous one.
He's the Alpha. He should be bad.
Here's the other problem with it. The editing was poor. The editing was really bad. And here's what I suspect. Did you guys notice there was a lot of off-camera dialogue? There was a lot of words that would be said by characters while they weren't even on camera.
Mm.
And
I didn't notice that.
It was almost what it felt like to me is that they chopped this thing down and then realized that, well, we cut out some lines that were important, so they came back and had them ADR them later. Mm. And so there was so many of them. Like that kind of thing should not be noticeable, but there was a ton of lines that were off camera, and I just kept thinking that really makes the editing seem very blaringly obvious as well. That it's just poorly paced and poorly cut together.
What was the running length on this one? Was it close to an hour?
45.
No,
I think this is the shortest one so far. I think somebody said. So.
That makes me wonder if, in an effort
trying
to do a voyage of the damned, if we just let it be an hour and.
Well, which we were supposed to have longer episodes in general.
I wondered about that too, but I don't know that 15 more minutes would have fixed a lot of things with it.
It might have helped the pacing.
Yeah.
Just to spread some of the stuff out instead of cramming it all together, but. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of potential here. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to like, but as soon as it ended, Mel went, "I didn't like that one." I was like, "Oh, well, okay."
The companions didn't get enough to do.
No.
I felt really wasted.
Graham had a bunch of delightful stuff in the beginning, but then that was about it. Pretty much, I enjoyed the episode up until they get in that stupid van and leave the compound.
Yeah.
That's the point where it's like, okay, now you've just...
Yeah, I think that's where it started falling apart for me, too.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because it's only like 20 minutes in.
It's not even 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
And if we're going to do aliens, they left the safety of the thing so that they could go out and, at least Bishop did, go out to radio for the dropship. Well, maybe that's where we're going. There's a rocket that's where we touch down, and this was all constructed later. We're leaving, and we're going to look for Benny on the way. Okay, I'll buy that.
Yes,
yeah,
I would have bought. That would
worked.
have made sense taking all of those people, all of the remaining people out.
But otherwise, I agree with you. It's like, if you put the shield back up, you're safer staying put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they breached the wall again, and we did have that silly virus thing going on that she'd unleashed on the station, and that's what basically brought the shield down in the first place. That was a bit Douglas Adamsy, though, how it affected him when he ate it in the chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or crisps, rather. That was pretty good. And the doctor being spot on, knowing exactly what it was and what was going to happen next each time.
And his acting when he was
fun.
pretending that the bats were attacking was
Yeah.
helpful.
Oh, and you're hallucinating. The bats aren't real.
And how
It's
long he
important to remember the
continues
bats
it
aren't
in the
real.
background that you just have to. I almost didn't hear what the doctor was saying after that
Because you were
I was
watching
paying
Ryan.
too much.
See, why couldn't she have been, I don't know, industrial espionage? That it's not a revenge plot against mom. This is a rival company that doesn't like the fact that you took over this orphan planet, and we want people to come to our resorts. Even as ridiculous as that is, that would have been better than.
Well,
I'm mad at you, so I'm going to blow it up.
Industrial espionage would have even been better as a revenge plot for mom. I mean, because you're not intending to. I mean, she went in there to blow the place up. I mean, she did all kinds of. Then she forgot about a stupid bomb that she had set earlier, and she was so reckless about it and just stupid. And I had no sympathy for the character whatsoever.
Yeah, and then you get to the end when they're left behind, and we're supposed to feel sorry for them. It's like, no, because Bella was. Yeah, she was not sympathetic. The mom certainly wasn't.
Oh,
she spent
was even
every
worse.
available opportunity to, yeah.
Yeah, I felt nothing for neither one of them at the end, and so the sacrifice was just meh.
Good luck with that.
Just didn't care at that
I'm
point.
getting in my teleport and going.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this on the last episode, and since we got another shot of it this time, I want to talk about it. What do you guys think about the redesign of the interior? It's opened up of the interior of the TARDIS. I should specify what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It feels obviously a lot bigger. It looks a lot bigger. At least the camera angles are presenting it as a lot bigger, which I like.
Yeah. It's not near as claustrophobic as it was last
But
season. Those crystalline
stupid
structures are still
columns
there.
are still in the way.
Yeah, I still don't like
It
them.
brings it back down. It
In
makes
fact,
it feel like the console room is this big.
It seems to me that
in a gigantic cavernous space now.
they've lit them brighter now too.
Yeah, it's the room overall seems brighter.
It's an improvement. I'm totally.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's an improvement from where it was. It's not what it needs yet, but it's better.
I haven't seen enough of it to really give much more of an opinion, though, because there has been a whole lot of time spent in the console room yet.
Yeah. Okay, this is something else. I didn't go back and check, and I meant to before we started this, but oxygen with Capaldi and Bill.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't there a whole bit in there about the doctor was okay without oxygen for a longer period of time?
Yeah.
How come that didn't kick in here?
I think it was still kicking in because if I remember correctly, there was dialogue about if it goes yellow, it's dangerous, orange, you're almost dead, red, you're dead.
And hers
the
was
fact
red
that
for a
hers
long
was
time
red
as she
for a
stumbled
while.
back
Okay.
towards the alpha. And hers went red a lot sooner than anybody else, or like went to orange a lot sooner than anybody else. Did you notice?
Yeah, and I noticed
There were a
was
lot of
line-
people that were on yellow, and she was already on orange.
There was a line of dialogue. I'm not sure who says it, but they say something along the lines of, "You talk too much. That's why you're out of oxygen."
Yeah.
To the doctor.
Yeah.
Which was a nice little. Yeah, it's true. She does.
Yeah. I don't know that I can go it's the worst of her era, but it's
Yeah, it was terrible.
it's definitely not a good one.
And what makes it worse is the fact that it came off of two such great episodes. I mean, the first two episodes, the two-parter was fantastic. I just had so much fun with it and thought those were so good. And then which makes the fall even worse for me. That it dropped so much.
And again, I don't think it's necessarily a bad story. I think it's just it was so poorly executed.
Yeah,
with what we got.
There's some good concepts and some good ideas. Well, it's aliens. We all like aliens. It's the aliens story, and you're right. Just they just missed the mark.
Yeah.
What are we coming up with a schedule?
More New Who.
I love the title of the next episode.
What is it?
Sean doesn't even look him up anymore.
Nope, I haven't bothered.
Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
Ooh.
Has anybody seen the preview? Because
I've not even seen the preview.
I didn't see it.
I did.
I had to go. I had to go online and look at it.
Well, I'm a Tesla
exciting.
freak, so
Yep.
I'm automatically in.
Have you seen Current War yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't remember if you'd reviewed that or not.
Yep. I liked it. Yeah, I'm a Tesla nut, so I'm already all in on this one. Don't disappoint me, Doctor Who.
Let's hope it does better than this one.
Well, if you want to hear me rant and rave about this, how bad this episode was again,
rant?
You could turn into Tartar Sauce this week. Macy, Tim, and I got a chance finally. We've been kind of rotating week to week, but don't forget, if you haven't watched us over on Tartar Sauce, over on Sci-Fi for Me TV, be sure and check them out. They've also got a lot of great science fiction content over there that if you're into science fiction, you'll enjoy. And they have some other podcasts and other shows too on the YouTube channel. And you can catch it every week. A new episode every week of TARDIS Sauce. Usually drops around 8 o'clock at night, except for last week when it dropped at 1 a.m. But that was a bit of a fluke. Anyway,
I'm going to chalk it up to me.
we're all on there from time to time, but this week I particularly got stuck with this episode. So be sure to check it out. It's Sci-Fi for Me TV and sci-fi4me.com.
I did. I sat back and I thought, I wonder what Glenn thought of that. And then I went to look something up and I looked at the author and I went, oh. Now I'm really curious to know what Glenn thought of it. Because if he liked it, I'm going to come back and go, yeah, you know who wrote it? Aha. But I'll bet he didn't.
Be sure to check out our website, travelingvortex.com, for updates on this podcast. And while you're there, click on the Patreon link. Consider supporting us. And for those of you that are supporting us, we thank you. And remember, you can send your comments and feedback to feedback@travelingvortex.com or by clicking on the Send Feedback link on that website.
Let us know your thoughts and if we're wrong.
That's right.
We don't think we are, but let us know if you think we are.
Until next time, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.